Hey guys, welcome back to Revealing Biblical Truths. In this video, we'll be covering Jubilees Chapters 46 through 50. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, share, and turn on notifications. In the last video, we went through chapters 41 through 45, where I talked about the story of Yehuda and his sons. In this section, we'll be finishing up the book and looking at the Israelites' exodus from Egypt and the loss from Mount Sinai. In chapter 46, following Jacob's death, the Israelites multiplied and were prosperous. The Egyptians were also good to the Israelites all the days of Joseph's life. In the passage of time, Joseph and his brothers died, and Joseph asked prior to this that he would be buried back in Canaan. And after this, the Egyptians had wars with the kings of Canaan and Assyria. And the Israelites buried all the sons of Jacob except for Joseph back in Canaan. And most of the Israelites returned back to Egypt. But a few did remain in Canaan, Hebron specifically, and that included Amram, the father of Moshe. The king of Canaan was living in Assyria, but when he conquered Egypt, he became the new king over Egypt, and then began to persecute them severely, putting taskmasters over them and making them slaves. Going into the book of Isaiah, chapter 52, in verse 4, there it confirms that this king was from Assyria. It says, "For thus saith the Lord God, my people went down aforetime into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyrian oppressed them without cause." In chapter 47, it tells of Moshe's birth, and how there went out a law to throw out the Israelite children into the river. They did this for 7 months until Moshe was born. And when he was born, his mother put him in an ark on the river, suckling him for a week, and his sister watching over to protect him from the birds. Then Tharmuth, the daughter of Pharaoh, saw him and had compassion on him. She had Jochebed, his mother, nurse him until he was older, and after that he became Tharmuth's son, and Amram continued to teach him until he was 21 years old. At that time he went into the royal court for another 21 years, and then he saw an Egyptian smiting his Hebrew brother, and then Moshe killed him and fled Egypt. In chapter 48, it says then that he dwelt in Midian for 39 more years, and then returned to Egypt to free the Israelites. At that time he would have been around 80 years old. It then recounts the story of the Exodus and all the plagues that Yah sent upon Egypt. In verse 9, it says something very interesting, which is that Prince Mastema, who we now know is Satan, helped the Egyptian sorcerers try to destroy Moshe and foil his plans. In the next several verses, it continues to say that the angels helped Moshe to overcome Mastema's plans, and that they put him to shame. But then Mastema told the Egyptians to pursue the Israelites as they were leaving, but the angels once again helped and destroyed them all in the sea, according to the will of Yah. It says that he destroyed 1,000,000 Egyptians in that day, and that Mastema was bound for 4 days while the Israelites left following the final plague, but that he was let loose in order to pursue them, and this was during the Feast of Unleavened Bread. In chapter 49, it flat out states that Mastema was the one who killed all the firstborn in that plague of Egypt, which is very interesting. It then retells the story of the Passover and the blood sprinkled on the doorposts and the lintel. It says that to remember the Passover and to do it every year. In verse 8, it even says it's an eternal ordinance and written on the heavenly tablets to keep it forever. He continues to say that the Israelites, when they come into the land and set up the tabernacle, they are to keep it then, and also when the house of Elohim is built, referring to the temple, and also to keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread for 7 days. In chapter 50, he states that he made known all the appointed times to Moshe, including the 7-year land rest and the 50-year Jubilee. These also appear in the book of Leviticus, chapters 23 to 26. He then goes into a timeline, saying that there were 49 Jubilees plus 1 week in 2 years, from Adam to Moshe on Mount Sinai, which is 2,459 years, which would be around 1541 BC. And then another 40 years they would be in the desert of of Sinai, taking us to 1501 BC. He then says the Jubilee years will continue until Israel has no more sin and Satan is no more, and the land is clean forever. He then reiterates the importance of keeping the Sabbath days, and notes these specific things, which all relate to working or making somebody else or an animal work. And this is the list from verses 8 through 12. And the man that does any work on it shall die. Whomsoever desecrates that day, whosoever lies with his wife, or whosoever says he will do something on it, that he will set out on a journey thereon in regard to buying and selling, and whosoever draws water thereon, which he had not prepared for himself on the 6th day, and whosoever takes any burden to carry it out of his tent or out of his house shall die. And every man who does any work thereon, or goes on a journey, or tills his farm, whether in his house or any other place, whoever lights a fire, or rides on any beast, or travels by ship on the sea, and whoever strikes or kills anything, or slaughters a beast or a bird, or whoever catches an animal, or a bird or a fish, or whoever fasts and makes war on the Sabbath. And if you think about these, they all make sense, as they are creating work of some kind, and this is the day that is supposed to be a day of rest, as Yah rested on his 7th day of creation week. And this completes the Book of Jubilees. I hope you enjoyed this series and this book. It's a very valuable book and companion to Genesis, and there are many treasures contained within. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until next time, thanks for watching, and shalom.